Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambeau channel. You know, as Attorney John Deaton has stated, the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit is the biggest non-fraud lawsuit the SEC has brought since 1946. And it's at this point, I mean, who do we have covering this? Yeah, it's fair to say, yes, there are some mainstream media outlets covering, like Fox Business, for example, and there are other mainstream publications, including Forbes, that are writing fairly extensively about it. But then there are certain platforms that just aren't, and I think I know why, and I'll tell you why, right here at the outset of the video even, and then I'm going to share with you some comments on this topic from Attorney John Deaton. But here's the deal. I think it's time to call out the silent and complicit media out there, and specifically who I'm thinking of right now is CNBC. I think they're probably a pretty good organization to start with. Now, mind you, this organization, as XRP was hitting its all-time high in the beginning of January 2018, Brian Kelly, who is on your screen right now, he was live on air telling people how to buy XRP, and he even publicly stated on air that XRP is not a security. And he's right about that part for sure. But, you know, XRP hit its all-time high near $4 on January 4th, 2018. This video was posted on CNBC's website the next day, January 5th, 2018. So they're telling people how to buy XRP basically at all-time highs when there's the frenzy around it. And Brian Kelly here notes that XRP has just been on a tear. And he conflates Ripple and XRP. That's a mistake, obviously. I'm more likely to give people a pass on that if they said it in like 2017 and 2018 when, you know, fewer people understood that Ripple's a company and XRP is a decentralized cryptocurrency. They still should have known better, but I'm just saying I'm a little bit more forgiving when people were saying that crap back then. But to go from that to hearing nothing, it's practically crickets when it comes to coverage of the biggest non-fraud SEC lawsuit since 1946. Crickets. Why is that? Well, I think it has something to do with the fact that after leaving the SEC, this asshat here, Jay Clayton, who was running the SEC, he was chairman of the SEC, he left, and one of the things that he started doing was contributing. He's an actual contributor on CNBC. So might there be a little bias here? They're paying Jay Clayton to share his perspective. So I guess the last thing they want to do is bring out the truth and be an open and honest media organization. That looks kind of true, doesn't it? And they also basically gave him cover because when all the allegations, especially, I guess it was probably September, October, when things were really starting to get hot regarding all the claims surrounding Bill Hinman and Jay Clayton and how they were making boatloads of money. You know, he was asked a softball question along those lines. And here, I'll just pull it up right now. This is from John Deaton's crypto law website. And so he linked to a video of Jay Clayton, which I covered at the time, October of last year. And he was asked, Jay Clayton was asked by the host, it was just a softball question. He said there are a lot of allegations on social media, I'm paraphrasing here, that you've, after leaving the SEC, benefited to whatever degree, joining all these firms, this or that. And he claimed, quote, I did not know these companies while I was in the government. What companies are being referenced? Well, one of them was Apollo Global. Here's a headline from February 18th, 2021. And this one was titled, Private Equity Giant Apollo Hires Ex-SEC Chief Jay Clayton as it moves on from Epstein scandal. So mind you, so that was February. And then in October of last year, a little bit later, he publicly stated on live television that he didn't know any of these companies while he was in the government. But you know what we found out shortly after he said that? We found out that he was lying. In fact, there's a public disclosure regarding his finances, which he had to make, and it had to be public because that's the law when you're going into that particular position for the sake of transparency. You know what we found was that he has his own money invested in Apollo Global. He lied on air. The arrogance of this man. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. He thinks he can get away with this crap, and now he's getting cover from CNBC. I think it's time to push back against this stuff because CNBC, as far as I'm concerned, they're just silent and complicit in this. It's nonsense. It's not a good look here. And so I want to share with you a tweet that I put out, which reads as follows. And it was me sharing Attorney John's Deaton thread, which is the next thing I'm going to get into. But I wrote, hey, CNBC. So I tagged them. I tagged Becky Quick, also with CNBC, Melissa Lee with CNBC, and Joe Kernan with CNBC. I tagged them all and I said, how long are you going to ignore the SEC v. Ripple lawsuit? It's the biggest legal action in crypto and you're silent. Why? Retweet if you want CNBC to finally cover the story. Also, you should have John Deaton as a guest. Yeah, and so I said, why are you being silent? I think I know. I wasn't putting it in that particular tweet, but I think I know what the answer is, right? And I want to say thanks to everybody that retweeted that. 498 retweets so far anyway, 746 likes. I really appreciate that. So it got out to a whole bunch of XRP holders and people that are just anti-SEC as a result of this. So that's why I'm saying, like, if we keep working as a community, I'm telling you, they're seeing this, and at some point, it could still get to the point where they just absolutely cannot ignore this, because it's all that's going to show up in their damn notifications all up on the Twitters. So to me, that makes a ton of sense. Now, here's what attorney John Deaton had to say on this topic. He wrote, "To be honest, it bothers me how CNBC has turned its back on retail holders. I've watched Melissa, Brian Kelly, Joe, Andrew, and Becky Quick for years. My God, Brian Kelly showed viewers how to acquire XRP on air. He correctly said XRP is not a security. Coinbase did list XRP just as Brian Kelly suggested. Before Coinbase listed XRP, it met with the SEC about listing XRP and told the SEC that Coinbase and its sophisticated securities lawyers determined today's XRP is not a security and was going to list it immediately unless the SEC disagreed. Coinbase was going to request to go public soon with its historic initial public offering, and it wanted to make sure that the SEC was okay with it listing XRP on the platform. The SEC did not disagree with Coinbase's determination that XRP was not a security. Coinbase listed XRP in February of 2019. After that, the SEC approved Coinbase's initial public offering with XRP listed on the platform, and 5 months later, after the after the United States government wouldn't allow Alipay to buy MoneyGram for national security reasons, Ripple was allowed to acquire 9% of MoneyGram and filed a disclosure form with the SEC. That SEC disclosure form informed the SEC and the public that Ripple would be transferring XRP to MoneyGram for use in cross-border payments. The SEC allowed this in June of 2019. After all of this, former chairman Jay Clayton, now a CNBC contributor, voted to sue Ripple over XRP. Clayton filed the case as he was walking out the door under a mountain of conflicts of interest and appearances of impropriety. It is not hyperbole to describe this case as the most significant non-fraud SEC enforcement action since 1946. And by the way, 1946, of course, that's when the Supreme Court addressed the Howey case. Kind of big stuff there. But arguably, yeah, I think that John Deaton's right. This is the biggest thing since then in terms of non-fraud cases the SEC's brought. Yes. Oh, absolutely. And they've never seen blowback like this with over 70,000 XRP holders saying, no. And John Deaton ends up addressing this, so I don't want to get ahead of myself. But anyway, John continues. This case was filed after XRP was traded for 7.5 years. And after all I've described. Oh, by the way, XRP was already the first regulated crypto in the United States when FinCEN declared it a convertible virtual currency. Ripple was mandated to comply with U.S. banking laws, not securities laws. The FinCEN settlement was 2015, 5 years before Clayton dropped the suit. For the first time in 76 years, the SEC is claiming an asset itself is a security, and this includes people who traded it in the secondary market who have no connection with Ripple. Go ahead and ask your fancy and high-priced lawyers at CNBC. In every single case since Howey was decided in 1946, there has been some level of privity between the promoter selling the asset and the purchaser. But now the SEC is claiming, with XRP, you don't need such privity. Because of this unlawful expansion of Howey, over 70,000 XRP holders from the United States and 142 countries around the world joined the fight to fight the SEC and fight back against this unlawful government overreach, including people who bought XRP after watching Brian Kelly do so. We actually asked the judge to force the SEC to sue us and become defendants in the case. We did this because by claiming all XRP, including XRP traded in the secondary market independent of Ripple, are all unregistered illegal securities, we are, practically speaking, being sued. Despite all of this craziness, and despite the magnitude of this case and what is being argued, CNBC is silent and not reporting on it. I'm not suggesting CNBC take a side, but my God, you showed folks how to buy XRP. Brian Kelly said, quote, "I'm not a lawyer, but there's no way XRP is a security," end quote. Don't you feel any obligation to at least report the story? Why not? Is it because Clayton is a contributor? You feel no obligation or ethical inclination to report our story? You ask Clayton a question one time, knowing he will duck it? Jesus, I just think you owe your audience more. Applause for Attorney John Deaton. He's not quite done, but still, I love that line. He's so right. But they just don't give a damn because they got Clayton on the payroll. How about that? And then John Deaton wraps up by stating, "Oh, I forgot. Speaking of craziness, the SEC not only objected to the very people they claimed the lawsuit was filed to protect, it asked the judge to revoke Amici status and bar Amici counsel from participating further. She declined. But it might make a journalist pay attention." Exactly. So, of course, what he's referencing there, just to be clear, is he's talking about how the SEC literally requested that the 70,000 plus XRP holders and John Deaton be removed from the case, as in not be allowed to participate any further. They literally did. I made a whole video on it, so I'm not going to rehash it now. But they actually did that. CNBC, they don't care. They're just not going to pay attention. They got Jay Clayton on the payroll. What the hell? You got to worry about any of that stuff, right? Just those little XRP holders out there. Not a good move, CNBC. Definitely not a good look. And so, to me, that's why sharing this stuff on social media to grab their attention, like, it does work. You know, eventually you do this and people start to pay attention. That happened with Fox Business. Think about that. And then once they got into the facts, they're just like, oh yeah, okay, there's really something here, right? And then they've been covering it very in depth ever since. Now, it may be more of an uphill battle with CNBC because of Jay Clayton being on the payroll, but still, that doesn't mean that we acquiesce. We're not just going to sit here, be little bitches, and just cry about it. Let's just put pressure on them. That's it. You don't do anything inappropriate. You don't threaten people. You don't do anything bad like that. But you put pressure. You make. And what I mean by that is just make your voice heard. You know, that's all I'm doing. That's it. And they should hear us because there's a lot of us. There's really, seriously, just a ton of us in this space talking about this. I don't know if you can tell, but it really burns my biscuits, folks, that we even have to talk about it. Like, this really burns my biscuits. Let me know what you think. I'll wrap up here, though. I am not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.